everybody, my name is Nathan Haller, and I am that bald guy. Welcome back to another week of Game Talk. This week I'm going to be talking about Insomniac's Spider-Man game and what they should and should not do to make sure that this game is great, so let's get right to it. It's been a while since we've seen a great Spider-Man game. Spider-Man 2 back in 2004 was a great game at its time, but you could definitely tell that it was still a movie tie-in. What it did great is it really did make you feel like Spider-Man, and what I mean by that is the web slinging across New York City. It was absolutely amazing for its time, and, seeing the actual web, gravitate towards the actual building instead of the middle of the air was something we never really saw in the video game, and it really did, like I said, make you feel like Spider-Man. Other than that, though, the game did suffer in a lot of ways. From closing you off to certain areas, to cringeworthy dialogue, to absolutely boring mission structure, this game had a lot of flaws. And I think Insomniac knows that and wants to do the complete opposite. So, what do they do to make a great game? Well, first off, they need to learn from other developers. If you've seen any gameplay from the E3 reveal or the just released behind the scenes video of the making of Spider-Man, you've probably noticed that the combat looks very similar to Rocksteady's Batman Arkham games. The combat, though a little different, like I said, does look like Rocksteady's, but that is okay. Every game steals from another. I just hope they don't really rely too much on what Rocksteady did with Batman and kind of just slap Spider-Man on. I really hope they explore different mission structure and how you can interact with the open world differently, since you're going to be a web-slinging superhero and not this billionaire tech guy that doesn't have any superpowers. Next is something that's really important to me, and that's how Peter Parker is portrayed in this. If you haven't seen Spider-Man Homecoming in theaters yet, do yourself a favor and go buy a ticket, man. It is absolutely the best Spider-Man movie that's ever been created, and I'm sorry to all the Spider-Man 2 fans that are out there rolling their eyes at me. I'm sorry, I think that you're just holding on to nostalgia too much, and you can't really notice how flawed that movie really is. But anyway, the best thing that came out of Homecoming is that we saw how Peter Parker really is. I don't want this metaphorically driven cliche Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi, Peter Parker, nor do I want this I'm 30 but I'm trying to play a high schooler / freshman in college Andrew Garfield Peter Parker either. No, I want a fun superhero to be around, especially after having 4 games with Batman in the Arkham series, I don't want to be another dark and brooding superhero. I want to be a fun, lighthearted guy going from one end of New York to another while, cracking jokes. And I honestly don't mind them straying away from the comics, honestly. As long as they're respecting the source material, I think they should be able to do what they want with this universe, much like how Rocksteady did with their Batman series. And please, no Uncle Ben. Honestly, we don't need the great responsibility Spider-Man either. Sam Raimi's trilogy killed that for me, and it was way too overused, and at this point it's so cliche. I'd rather them stray away from that and kind of do what Homecoming did, which was bring a new Peter Parker, bring a new Spider-Man to a new generation. There's been so many things that have changed about Batman, throughout the past 30 years, and, Spider-Man needs some of those changes too. And this is where I think Insomniac really needs to change things up. Rocksteady always let you play as different characters, but it was either in a very, very, very small chunk in the later game, or through combat challenges throughout the series. This is an absolute mistake in Rocksteady's part, and I can't tell you how disappointed I am that I couldn't be Nightwing kicking ass in Bloodhaven, or play as Damian Wayne's Robin. Insomniac should embrace Spider-Man's vast hero selection and implement it somehow. Whether it's through side missions where I get to play as Miles Morales somehow, or as Jessica Drew, I don't care, just let me play as these characters in some capacity. It also doesn't really make sense that Spider-Man has to go and face all these big bad guys alone when all these other Spider-Man characters are out there, just sitting around. I really do think that if they want to put these guys into this universe, that we need to play as these guys as well. Now, it's still unclear how Insomniac's going to implement the hero part of this all, but it looks like they got the villain part down. Rocksteady never really dabbled that much with newer villains. It wasn't really until Arkham Knight that we saw Firefly or, Pig in a Rocksteady game. We saw it with WB Montreal's take in Arkham Origins, but You know, we need to find balance of some sort between traditional villains and newer villains that, most people aren't going to know about. And it looks like that's what Insomniac's doing. That's what they've said, that this game is going to have a great balance between, the old characters that we love and the new characters we don't know about. So I don't really have much to say on that front. The last thing I really want to talk about, though, is mission structure. Like I said, from learning from others, don't repeat the same mistakes that Rocksteady did. Insomniac should also learn from their mistakes as well. Look at Sunset Overdrive for an example. Great game, but hindered by a small amount of missions to do. Now, I don't mean by quantity, I mean by quality. The variety between these missions is almost slim to none. It felt like I was really just playing the same 4 to 5 mission structures over and over and over and over again. I'd love to see active missions pop up to save civilians or stop a bank robbery. This is really Insomniac's chance to make a game that really does make you feel like Spider-Man. And part of being Spider-Man is helping out everybody in your neighborhood. He's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, so not only do I want to kick Fisk's ass and stop Green Goblin, I also want to help civilians not die from a cataclysmic event, or just stop a regular bank robbery. It really is this balance between smaller missions and bigger missions that's going to make you feel like Spider-Man. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think below. What do you think would make a great Spider-Man game? Are there things I'm right about, wrong about? Let me know. I'd love your feedback. Also love your feedback on how the video is too. But anyway, make sure you go like the page on Facebook. It's facebook.com/thatbaldguy1994. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you check out my Patreon. Should be in the comments below. It's patreon.com/thatbaldguy. I think that's it. I'll see you guys next week.